What if I told you your house is ugly? But that's totally okay. Now, I haven't seen your house, so no judgment here. But if you consume any design content online, you've probably been told 100 different ways your home might be ugly and exactly how to fix it. But here's the question nobody asked. If beauty is in the eye of the beholder, is it ugly? Stick around because today we're talking about why it truly doesn't matter what anyone thinks of your space. And if you think it needs some work, we'll talk about how to fix it without a sledgehammer. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Is there one universal definition of an ugly home in the first place? Not in my opinion. Beauty is subjective, and so is the opposite. At SFL Interiors and Redesign, our job isn't to tell you your taste is wrong. It's to help you feel more like you in your space. So today we're breaking down 3 things. Why people say your home is ugly in the first place, why the only opinion that actually matters is yours, and if your gut says something's off, it probably is. When someone calls your home ugly, what they're actually reacting to isn't your taste. They're reacting to a mismatch. It might be the lighting's too harsh, or your furniture doesn't quite fit the scale of a room, or there's a lot of visual clutter and it's all competing for their attention. Those are real fixable design issues, but notice none of them inherently are ugly. They're just choices that aren't working together yet. The truth is, ugly online is often just shorthand for different than a trend I personally like. One person's cozy, maximalist, or color-drenched living room is another person's nightmare. Neither one is objectively wrong. And that's why before you spiral over a comment like your house is ugly, ask yourself, is it actually not working for me, or is it just not what's currently trending? Here's the freeing part. Your home's only real job is to make you feel good when you walk through the door. Not followers, not extended family, not the algorithm, just you. And of course, whoever lives there with you. And if you love your space and it makes you feel calm and cozy, then by definition, it's not ugly, no matter what the trend is for that year. Confidence in your own home is actually what makes it feel like good design to a guest anyway. People remember how a space made them feel, not whether a lamp was on trend. So if you're truly happy in your space, feel free to skip the rest of this video. But before you click off, if you have a nagging feeling, you know that something's really off in a room, it just bugs you every time you walk into it, that's actually a really useful cue. And it's really worth listening to. And we're going to talk about, if you get those feelings, what your space is actually telling you. When a room feels off, it's rarely about your taste. Now that doesn't mean it can't feel dated, but it's almost always one of a few usual suspects in a room, whether the design is dated or not. First, it's clutter. I know, you feel it, I feel it. It's that visual noise from unfinished piles of laundry, stuff all over your counters, and everything that feels out of place. Clutter really can make a beautifully decorated home feel chaotic. And where there's chaos, there is unease. Next, there's the layout and spacing. Furniture that's the wrong scale for a room immediately creates a problem because it blocks the natural flow of traffic and it will always feel uncomfortable. And uncomfortable often is what we're feeling when something feels ugly per se. The third thing, and you hear this all the time, but it's probably your lighting. One single harsh light that's overhead can totally take away from the most beautiful piece of furniture you've put in a space. And that one last thing that can really make a space feel uncomfortable is the color of the room, or non-color if we're talking white paint. The wrong wall color, whether it's too dark for the light a room gets or too sterile for the mood you want in a space, it really can work against you every single day. It just can drain you. So how can we tell what our home is telling us? Well, it's actually simple. You just walk through your space and ask, room by room, does this feel cluttered? Is the furniture the right fit? Do I have enough layered lighting? Is it warm or is it too cold? Is it too harsh? Do I have too many exposed bulbs? And does this color feel right for how I want the space to feel? 9 times out of 10, the answer points to exactly which one of these 4 things need attention, and none of them require a full renovation to fix. Case in point, I'm actually going through this exact process myself right now with our primary ensuite. Nothing is broken exactly, but every morning I walk in and it just feels so boring. It's like drab, and it's not really inspiring. And that is just not the vibe you want first thing in the morning before your day even starts. So I actually had to do the walkthrough. The layout is fine, and to be honest with you, I'm not doing any major renovations to change it right now. And I actually really like the footprint. But when I got honest with myself, it came down to a mix of small repairs I've been putting off, some disorganization, those things you learn to live with without even noticing, and honestly, the paint. So here's something I don't want to admit. There are 2 paint samples that have been on those walls for way too long. So I always knew the paint needed to change. And that's the whole why does this feel off answer. And it took about 2 minutes standing there to be honest with myself and find it. So now I want to talk about fixes. And I promise none of these require a contractor, although feel free to hire it out. First, declutter and clean. This is literally the fastest, cheapest way you can reset any room so it feels better. Clear off those surfaces, donate what you haven't used in 6 months or 8 months or a year, and give your space a great deep clean. Dust light fixtures, wash walls and baseboards, clean those window sills. It sounds simple and potentially overwhelming, but a clean, decluttered space always feels instantly more inviting because your eye finally has room to rest. The room itself breathes better and you can just feel relaxed. In my ensuite, this means giving the linen closet a full reorganization. Now, there's nothing wrong with the space itself, and I'm not buying a bunch of clear bins. It's just become a bit of a catch-all. And so it's this quiet disorganization, and it's adding to this feeling of, ugh, every time I open the door. The second fix is small repairs. You know, the ones, that scuff on the baseboard behind that door that doesn't quite latch correctly, or that loose cabinet handle, the ones that are half noticed, but they add up and they really make your space feel like it's not cared for. Go ahead and knock off a few of those small repairs and watch that the whole room starts to feel more polished. And honestly, it doesn't take much time. For me, I have to patch up a couple of holes where we had a towel bar pull away from the wall and replace the tiniest bit of caulk in the shower niche. It's not a lot, but it's compromised enough that it doesn't need to stay that way. And the third fix, paint and color. Paint genuinely drives how we experience a room. We've all heard bright and airy versus dark and moody, energizing versus calm. There's an entire psychology of color. If a room has felt off for a while, you'd be surprised how a fresh coat of paint in the right shade could be the single return on investment of your small fixes in this entire list. This is one I'm most excited about in my ensuite. Based on those 2 samples that have been sitting there, I already know that the full paint refresh is going to be the biggest mood shift in that room. That bathroom is giving sad vibes. It needs all the interest it can take. So once my paint dries, I'm layering in some fresh, updated plush towels, new bath mat, so the whole space can feel more pulled together. And here's the thing, none of these are renovations. It's simply just an afternoon or 2 of unglamorous fixes. I know for me, I already know walking into a freshly painted, organized, patched up space every single morning is going to make getting ready feel like a completely different experience. So now that we've talked about some things that can make your space feel off or ugly, and some simple fixes, next time someone, online or otherwise, tells you your home is ugly, remember, that's just one opinion. And it's not the one that matters. What matters is how you feel in your space. And if something genuinely is bothering you, you can always start small and get a big return. Or you could take it up a notch and really get into a redesign project. If you want a head start identifying what to fix in your own space, we put together a full room by room refresh checklist. Grab it in the link in the description box. You can also sign up for our blog for more tips like this, or head over to our site if you want an expert eye on your specific space. Until next time, bye.